Hello, this is the course introduction video for Introduction to Sociology. In this video I'm going to be going over the syllabus and also the course website, but the first thing that we're going to do is look at the syllabus. And if you're curious on where to find it, it is right here in the course home. Just click on this right here and it will pull up a Word doc. Alright, so again, this is Intro to Sociology. Please note that two different sections of Intro to Sociology have been merged into this class, SY221-006 and SY221-007. So you will be interacting with folks who are enrolled in different sections of this class, but everything will be the same throughout both classes. Okay, my name is Dr. Sarah Donnelly. Please call me Dr. Donnelly, in correspondence with me, so on and so forth. My office is located in 324 Brewer Hall, and then here are my contact information, my phone number, and my email address, sdonnelly@jsu.edu. And then my office hours are Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 to 11 a.m. and then 12:30 to 4:30 in the afternoons. And of course, I am available by appointment, and then also if you need to meet digitally or over the phone, that can be arranged as too. Just email me and we can set that up. So the textbook required for this class is listed here, Margaret Anderson et al., Sociology, the Essentials in 9th edition. You have the ISBN number here. It is available in the bookstore, obviously. I believe you can rent it for $27 or so, or you can buy a hard copy, whatever your preference is, doesn't matter to me. Please also be aware that you do not need to purchase an access code for any kind of online learning system like MindTap or anything like that. You do not need that for this class. You just need a copy of the book, and however you want to go about getting it is fine with me. Just make sure that you have a copy for it because you will be reading from it. You will be citing it throughout and using it as a resource, of course, to study throughout this course. So this is Introduction to Sociology, and pretty self-explanatory. It's an introduction to the discipline of sociology. And in particular, we're going to look at society from the sociological perspective. How do sociologists study the social world? And then how do we also theorize about kind of different things that happen in society? So thinking about social institutions, how does education affect our lives? How does family affect our lives? How is social inequality changed, maintained, or created? All things society, all things social interaction, and we'll kind of cover the basic premises of sociology, theory, methods, and basic concepts, and then also we'll kind of look at how sociologists view socialization or gender or social inequality or the family, so on and so forth. So I'll go ahead and get into the course requirements here and kind of what is the expectations in the coursework that you'll be doing throughout the semester. This first week is what you'll really be dealing with here, and this is kind of separate from everything else that we'll be doing in this course. This week you'll be doing a syllabus quiz, an introduction, discussion board, and a plagiarism activity. And the whole idea here is the function of this is to obviously orient you to the course structure and kind of the expectations of the course, and then also introduce you to your classmates who you'll be interacting with throughout this course. And I'll talk a little bit more about those when I get to Canvas here later on in this video. So the first part of the course requirements for this class are quizzes, and each week you will be required to complete a weekly quiz on Canvas, and most of the quizzes will consist of multiple choice and or short answer questions on the chapter we are covering that week. So next week we'll be going over chapter 1, so your quiz of course will be dealing with chapter 1. There are 12 quizzes offered over the entirety of the semester. However, only 10 will count towards your final grade. So that's where we get 150 points. So if your quiz, each quiz is worth 15 points, only 10 count towards your final grade, 150 points. So what that means is you'll be taking 12 over the course of the semester, but only 10 will count towards your final grade. So 2 of them will count as like freebies or will be dropped from your grade at the end of the semester. The second part of this class is involved in homework assignments, and homework assignments will vary, but they typically include they're more writing oriented, so you might watch a film and then answer some questions over it. You might listen to a podcast and answer some questions over it and how it's related to course material. You might evaluate a news article. You might be asked to reflect on something. You might be asked to go online and do some kind of simulation and then answer questions about it. And each homework assignment is worth 20 points for a total of 100 points, but you will be offered 6 over the course of the semester, but only 5 will count towards your final grade. So again, kind of a freebie built in there. Third are discussion boards, and these tend to be a little bit more involved because you will be interacting with your classmates. And there are 4 main components to these discussion boards. The first one is your response to the original discussion board question. It's 15 points to be completed by Wednesday of that week. 2 is coming up with a discussion board question that your fellow classmates can answer, which is worth 2.5 points, and then 3 is responding to one classmate's discussion board question. And the idea here with this latter part is to get you engaged in conversation with your classmates. And each discussion board is worth 25 points total, but there'll be 4 over the entire semester, but you'll only have to answer 3. So if you haven't kind of already caught on, the way that this course is set up is that it's week to week, okay? So material, assignments, PowerPoints, so on will become available on Sunday night in Canvas at 11:59 p.m. and will be available for you to complete the next until the next Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So you'll have an entire week to do assignments, quizzes, so on and so forth, unless otherwise specified, okay? And if it's otherwise specified, I will let you know through announcements or email or whatever. But a week-to-week basis is how we will be going about doing assignments for this class. And so, in particular, what's important for this with discussion boards is they'll become available on Sunday night, but you need to complete the first portion of it, your original response, by Wednesday of that week. And if you do not, there will be some kind of penalty in terms of points that you'll lose if this first part is not completed. And the reason that I do this is to have students making sure that there's enough time for adequate social interaction and people not waiting to the last minute to participate in discussion boards. The final portion of this grade are exams, and you'll have 2 of them, a midterm and a final. They're not cumulative, and they're each worth 100 points. They consist of a mix of multiple choice questions and short essays, and typically what I've been doing is you'll have 40 multiple choice questions and then two short essays, so 40 questions worth 80 points total, and then 2 short essays each worth 10 points. The grading scale for this class is pretty self-explanatory. There's 575 points total, and depending on how many points you get, you'll get an A, B, C, D, or so on and so forth. Okay, again, I've kind of already talked about the book, but again, that is required, and get it however you want it. Please note that Chapter 1 will be available for next week for you, and I'll keep the first couple chapters available in Blackboard for those of you that are still waiting to get your books. But after, say, like week 4, I don't really do that anymore. You are responsible for getting access to the book after that point. in terms of Canvas and weekly modules, I have it set up again as a week-to-week class, and each module has everything that you'll need to do for that week, including the PowerPoints that you'll need to go over, the assignments, if there's any media content that you need to work with, and then also remember that this stuff opens on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. and closes the following 11:59 p.m. every week. One thing that I have done in multiple classes to kind of help with the workload to make sure that everybody's on the same page is that every week, Sunday, I will post what is called a weekly to-do list, and basically what I post these in announcements, and they detail what is expected for you of that upcoming week. And they typically consist of reviewing the PowerPoints and watching the embedded videos in the PowerPoints. So a lot of the PowerPoints have things linked in them that help to explain concepts or ideas or interesting articles that are related to whatever the content is. And that's to kind of supplement your learning outside of the book and, of course, the information provided in the PowerPoint. The second part of that is complete the assigned reading, and then completing assignments, quizzes, and or discussion boards. And you won't have an assignment, quiz, and discussion board every week. They'll kind of fluctuate. You'll have a quiz every week, but you'll have an assignment here and there, and you'll have discussion boards here and there. And you'll see that with the course schedule. Class conduct, we're going to be interacting via online, and the whole thing is remember to be respectful of one another during class discussion activities, so on and so forth. And I'll be respectful of you, and I want you to be respectful of me, and of course your classmates, so on and so forth. Okay, so in terms of course policies, in general, I put a note in here about my grading policy and feedback. So typically, what is that like for this class? I try my best to grade everything within 2 to 3 weeks of the original assignment being turned in. But that doesn't always happen just because of scheduling and things going on with me. I'm sure you understand. And so what I typically do with feedback anyway is that for the first couple of assignments, everybody will get individualized feedback. And from then on, though, however, I tend to limit feedback only to those students who have missed points. So if you lose points, you'll get an explanation as to why. And if you did well, you'll get a good job, or, oh, you did this very, very well. The other thing that I do is I also provide general feedback, and typically what I'll do is I will provide those in announcements, and I'll just kind of give general recommendations on overall what could be improved, what you guys did really well, so on and so forth. So just kind of pay attention to those and make sure that you utilize that to improve future grades. And of course, if you're ever confused by my feedback or you need more of an explanation, you can always email me and I can provide that for you. So in terms of late assignments, makeups, or incompletes, most of the time I don't accept these unless you have kind of extenuating circumstances or university approved absences, and that has to be communicated with me ahead of time. And the other thing that I do too is I've built into the syllabus and the course requirements here that you have freebies, okay? So you get 2 free quizzes that you can miss, you get an assignment that you can miss, and then you also get a discussion board that you can miss. And at the end of the semester, I also provide an opportunity for an extra credit assignment that's typically worth about 20 points, so that can replace a assignment grade or a discussion board grade if you happen to miss more than just one. And that's why I don't really allow makeups because of the flexibility in the grade. However, if there's something going on in your life that you're sick or whatever it is, and it's interfering with this on a grander scale, I am, of course, flexible in here and will work with you to accommodate you in whatever that is. And the other thing with kind of making up assignments due to extenuating circumstances, I like for you to make them up, within reason. So not at the end of the semester, but within, say, a week or two of when that assignment was originally due. And again, I'm encouraging you, if you're having issues or there's stuff going on in your life that's affecting your ability to perform in class, please contact me and just have a conversation with me ahead of time instead of waiting to the last minute. Okay, course communication, pretty straightforward. We're an online course, so a lot of my communication with you is going to be through email or announcements. Again, think about those weekly to-do lists that I'll post. And then also, in terms of when you email me, which is also the best way to get a hold of me, I typically respond immediately or within 24 hours, unless it is the weekend. If it is something that is urgent, that I perceive as urgent, I will respond, on the weekends and that kind of stuff. As I previously mentioned, this is a merged course, so you will be interacting with students who are enrolled in another section or sections of this course. There's only 2 sections in this class, so you'll see names, emails, so on and so forth. You'll be interacting with them primarily on the discussion board, and that's really it. There's no group projects or anything in this class. Okay, so university policies. The one that I'm really only going to talk, or 2 that I'm going to talk about, is the academic honesty policy and plagiarism. I'm sure you get plagiarism and academic honesty stuffed down your throat every semester, and I apologize for repeating the trend, but I have to because I'm a professor and unfortunately I deal with these kind of things. Okay, so just up front, if you're caught plagiarizing in this class, and just be aware, I do use that feature in Canvas, that is the Turnitin, on every written assignment that you'll ever submit to this class. I've also made it so that you'll be able to see that feature, so you'll be able to see what I see when I grade it. So it happens that, something, unfortunately you did borrow something from some other website, you'll be able to see that and then change it before you turn it into me. Because if you turn that into me like that, and I see a substantial part of it is, from somewhere else, you will get an automatic 0 on that assignment. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. An automatic 0. And I'm pretty hardcore about this policy. And I've also created, I mentioned earlier, which is called the plagiarism activity, which kind of details what plagiarism is, and then also how to appropriately cite sources. And I provide mechanisms on how to sort. How do you cite a book? How do you cite an article? How do you cite a podcast? How do you cite these different things? And I provided a resource there for you to use in this particular class. And I'll show you that later on, of course. And then obviously be aware of resources that are available to students on campus. There's free tutoring to all students that attend JSU. If you ever have any technical issues, right here, JSU's information technology and or online at JSU can be helpful. Also, if you are somebody that uses support from DSS, please let me know about that ahead of time, and obviously I will accommodate you whatever you need. I'm going to skip those 2. You can read those. But lastly, I want to talk about the course schedule and kind of how this is set up. All right. So we have it here by week, dates, topics, the readings that you'll do for that week, the quizzes for that week, assignments, and then your discussion boards. All right. So hopefully what you'll notice is that typically what will happen is discussion boards and assignments will fluctuate weekly. So what you'll see this week, you have the syllabus quiz. Oh, I didn't put the plagiarism activity in there, so I'll go ahead and do that for you. So what you'll have is a fluctuation here. So next week you'll just have quiz 1, and then you'll have another discussion board assignment, finding sociological research. Week 3, we'll be going over methods, and you'll have a chapter 3 quiz and a film worksheet, so on and so forth. Okay. And again, no week do you have, well, except for 1 week you have all 3 that you'll do, but it kind of fluctuates. And then your midterm will be in the middle of the semester, and then your final will of course be at the end of the week. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to Canvas and to talk about the course website and how it's organized, so on and so forth with that. And all right, so when you log in, this is what you're going to see. Home Introduction to Sociology, Why Study Sociology. This is also in your syllabus. And, it talks about what sociology can do for us and why it's important, course description, and then, of course, probably most important to you right here is the syllabus, and that's where you can access it. And then here's just some information about me. And if you're curious about who I am, this is my 6th year. I'm starting my 6th year at JSU, and I teach in the sociology and social work department. Sociology is a part of the School of Human Services and that should be Human Services and Social Sciences. I will correct that before I publish this video. And then we're located in Brewer Hall. So my areas of teaching and research center on gender, work, and occupation, social stratification, inequality, yada, yada, yada. If you're curious about more about me or my research, there's 2 resources for you. There's a picture of me at Luxembourg Garden Park in Paris, France, a couple of years ago. And then here's my contact information, and then my office hours, of course. And then I've also included the the course schedule down here that kind of details everything that you'll kind of be looking at, and you kind of have to scroll over here to look at all that. But the other thing that I did, which is kind of neat, you can do in Blackboard, but not necessarily do in, or you couldn't do in Blackboard, but you can do in Canvas, is you can link to the modules, all right? So this course introduction is going to take you straight to week 1 modules, okay? But before we jump into that, so here's your home tab, pretty straightforward. Already went on to that. Then we'll go to announcements. And if you click on this announcement, this is your week 1 to-do list. And so what I've done here is once I'm done with this video, I'm going to upload it and link it here. And then have you read the syllabus, take the syllabus quiz. If you click on that, it's going to take you directly to the quiz. Pretty straightforward. And so on and so forth. This will link you to introductions, so on and so forth. So weekly to-do lists will always post in the announcements, and they'll always post Sunday at 11:59 p.m. But probably the most important section that you need to know about for this class are the weekly modules. And this is where you'll be able to access syllabus quiz, introduction, and the plagiarism activity here. I think the syllabus quiz is pretty self-explanatory. It's going to ask you questions about the syllabus quiz. And it has 10 questions. They're each worth 1.5 points. You can take this as many times as you want and complete that. It's worth 15 points. And then the introductions here is basically just introduce yourself to the class. Pretty straightforward. So just answer, the stereotypical questions about who you are, what your name, major, what year in school are you, share some of your hobbies or interests, what do you hope to learn from this class in the semester, and then just a for fun thing here, if you woke up as an animal tomorrow, what animal would you be and why? And then just to kind of get some interesting dialogue going, post a question to your classmates and then respond to 2 students' discussion questions, okay, that they post. And then that way we can just kind of get some interaction going between us. You can get to know some of your classmates who are also in this class. And then finally, the plagiarism activity, which is worth 20 points. What you'll do here is, first, you need to review this thing. It's called a citations guide. And the citations guide basically outlines, what my course policy is, what is plagiarism, these 2 really short videos on how to learn what it is and how to avoid it. And then, why is it that you want to do this? And then how do you actually cite sources, okay? And so then down here I provide references or guides on any kind of source that you'll likely use in this class. And my hope is that you'll use this as a resource as you're doing homework in this class or doing writing assignments for this class, so on and so forth, okay? And then the quiz, to ensure that you've learned what plagiarism is a pretty short 4-question quiz. What is the difference between paraphrasing and direct quoting? Why is it appropriate to use citations? And then I'm actually going to ask you go and cite an outside source, and then I want you to cite your textbook too. Okay? So that's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions about any of this, please let me know. And again, so if you see the modules here, so you can only see week 1, but eventually week 2 will pop up here on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And things like excuse me, things like quizzes and discussion boards will close every week at Sunday at 11:59 p.m. They won't be available anymore. So just remember that week to week kind of thing. As far as that goes for course introduction videos, I think this is done. If you happen to be one of the few folks who've managed to make it to the end, if you would email me at my email address at sdonnelly@jsu.edu, tell me what your favorite movie ever is, and tell me why it's your favorite movie. I'll give you a couple of points extra credit right at the beginning of the semester. All right. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great first day of classes, and I'm looking forward to this semester and getting to know each of you in an online